at my house, we have 2 kids. Okay. So it's the American dream. It's easy. But it's not, right? But it's a beautiful mess. 15-year-old about to be 16, daughter just turned 4. One of the things that my wife and I are always pushing ourselves is, we get pulled in so many directions. Okay. Right. Rightfully so. But at the end of the day, a lot of our competition is younger. They may not have kids. They may not have the personal things, the responsibilities that we have.
Right.
So I ask my wife all the time, remove the personal responsibilities and the kids. What would we have done today professionally? What would we have done today for personal development? And I would say that it's our job to figure out how to do those and the responsibilities with the kids.
Yeah.
But because I feel like, at least I did for a while, and I feel like there's a lot of people out there that would do the same. We let our family, our personal responsibility take away. I think you can have it all, Neil. I really think you can have it all. And that's kind of why you're here today.
Yeah. It was, it's a trade-off when you're doing what I'm doing. Like, even when my girls were little, tiny girls, they were going to bed later than I was. And it was just, I always felt like I was making a trade-off between work and my personal life. And it was a decision that I made. I stuck with it for a long time. If I could go back and change things, I probably would.
Yeah, that was a big question. So your daughters are 15 and 18 now, right?
They're unbelievable people, and it's amazing watching them turn from kids into young adults. And now my oldest, Carly's going to the University of Tennessee next year. And
there we go.
Watching that happen right in front of your very eyes, you're like, what happened? How did you turn into such a wonderful person? And it's just a joy to watch them. It really is.
Well, so 15 and 18.
Yeah.
So if you're doing the math, they came along about halfway through your journey in TV.
Sure.
And you were always in the morning? Were you always in the morning?
I went to evenings for a year and a half.
Okay.
And I begged to go back to the mornings.
Okay.
The idea of waking up and spending most of your day getting ready to go to work at 1:30 in the afternoon was so unappealing to me.
Okay.
And then you'd get home and you wouldn't be able to go to sleep till 2:00 in the morning. So I like the schedule of getting my work out of the way in the morning and then having the rest of the day to do whatever I wanted. It took a huge toll on me. I don't think there's really any decent shift in that industry. So you don't make your own hours. The work makes your hours.
Well, and the 8 to 5 is, let's just say let's say it's just half the population. I have no idea what it is. It's less now than it used to be, right? But 15 years ago, it was probably 70 or 80% of the population. Yeah. So they were at work. You couldn't do what you do because they're at work. You had to work around them, right? So, that would be a crazy challenge because if you don't want to work for the man, you can't expect to work the man's hours, right?
I was always amazed. If we said something at 4:00 that resonated, the amount of people that would respond. I was like, a lot of people are up at that hour, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. The world's become so complicated that the only time you get by yourself these days is those early morning hours. And that became kind of the relationship between a morning viewer and the anchor is a very special relationship because you're literally the first face they see in the morning. Yeah. And to have the trust that they come to you for their news and for just general entertainment or just to have in the background while they get everyone's ready, it was a true honor to have that.
Yeah.
I miss that. I do miss that. It was the interaction going back and forth between, especially the 4 a.m. viewers.
Oh yeah.
Was something special to me. And I never didn't appreciate it.
It's literally like the folks that have to get up that early and the folks that, sleep, that don't have to get up that early. It's literally like two different origins of people, two different countries. It's that different. I think, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so many of my friends actually had no idea I was still in television news because if you get up at 7:00, 7:01, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm out. I might pop up here or there for a few minutes, but that's pretty much my day. So to have your day over and done with by 7:00 in the morning is kind of bizarre, right?
Absolutely. You're literally, although you were always driving backwards from rush hour in this town, that's pretty cool.
I never had a problem when I commute. Matter of fact, I would get severe road rage the few times I would get caught in traffic. And now I'm in traffic all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's wrong with the city? Can't we fix this? Isn't there something we can do? Now I get it. I think people are tired of me complaining about traffic now. I never used to. It was fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Empty
Absolutely.
roads.
Well, like, so, I want to stay on, like, again, going back to the family thing, because, you know, I think, so I had a revelation last night when I was sitting on the couch, and I was like, man, you know, the people closest to you in at any moment in life are the people that you share your dreams with,
right.
The people that you dream together with, right? And I think that's where most marriages fall apart, whether it be, or relationships in general, whether it be because of kids or whatever else. But like, you get so busy, you stop dreaming. You stop working on that future, you know, that target or that goal that you're setting together that everybody can move forward towards. You know,
well, I think when you're working extra special hours, which I call them, the odd hours, you end up putting yourself before a lot of more important things. And I think that's the downfall of what I did, is I was putting my work, my profession ahead of a lot of things that I probably shouldn't have at the time. So, you know, it makes sense that marriage fell apart very early on, and when the girls were very young. Mm-hmm. And I remember they were kids of divorce before anyone else in their class, and they didn't understand it, and it was very difficult for them. Of course, unfortunately, the way society is, that a lot of their friends have since gone through that, and my girls, I think, have been a good shoulder to cry on for some of their friends, actually knowing that, you know what, if two parents can decide that they're not right being together, but they can raise their children the best they can and make sure their children get all the best things in life that they can, that says something. And I think that's the message is that you eventually do have to put your kids first, and the kids are the most important things in your life. And I think selfishly it took me a little while to figure that out, Nick.
Well, like, dude, you can speak to a whole lot of people here. This is, as a middle-aged husband and dad, this is the challenge. Yeah. Like, I got, you know, let's just say at 44, let's say I got 15-ish years of, like, well, that used to be the way. You got 15 years left of your, I would say that I'm entering my highest earning years. Let's say it that way. Yep. Right? Yep. So I'm my most value in life right now to society as a whole, business and everything else. So it's like, but at the same time, I'm also the most valuable to my family right now. Right? Yep. Every day I do get a little bit older. I lose a little bit of speed, like even just long tossing baseball with my son. It's no longer me playing catch with him when he's stretching it out as far as he can go. Right. He carries a bucket full of baseballs and I catch it and drop it because I can't throw it that far anymore. You know? So I'm torn. Every day I'm torn.
Well, the fact that you acknowledge it tells me that you're doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. When you acknowledge that, you know what's happening, so you're obviously paying attention to it. Yeah. The funny thing is, you said that your age, 44, and you have about 15 years left of your prime earning years. Well, at the end of 15, you're my age.
Got it.
And what I was seeing is a lot of people my age are kind of like, they look like they're starting to put the balls away.
There's a lot of juice in the tank, ain't it?
Right. And the fact is that, you know, when someone calls you a legend in the office, I equate legend with someone who's been dead for several years and they just remember them in the past. When people look at you and say, how many more years are you going to do this? You start saying, you know what? No, I'm not. This sounds like someone who's on their way out. Yeah. I don't want it to be 14 years for you. I want it to be, you know, through the finish line. Mm-hmm. And that's what kind of changed within me. I wanted to keep on going. I wanted to start over in many ways. I had 15 midlife crises. This is totally different than a midlife crisis. This is a restart. This is saying, no, I'm not going to accept aging. I'm not going to accept societal norms of becoming, you know, settled down and, you know, sitting on the armchair on the front porch. I'm going to pick up the baton and start running this race again. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was changing out of the career I had chosen at that point. For me, it was signing up for a triathlon, and it was to get myself going again, to feel younger, first of all, physically. And it was a whole bunch of other things that happened that I'm so glad that I did it. Life right now is so uncertain for me. It's never been this uncertain, but it's also never been so enjoyable. It's incredible.
How did you know that it was so? one of my things is you don't quit, you finish.
Right.
All right. God hides the gift in the end of something at God hides the beginning or the gift in the end of something else.
So true.
All right. So if you don't finish and you quit, you don't get the gift. Okay. Like my baseball career, I was finished. Yeah. I didn't quit. I was finished. Yeah. And if I had wanted to stay longer, they might not have had me, but it was on my terms, but it triggered everything else that followed. I had a moment. Everybody has that moment where you're like, this is it. I can see it. Like, I don't know where the finish line is until you do. Yeah. When did you have was there like one aha moment that
there
really
was?
Okay.
There was very much. I had woken up late for work. I was running behind. I got to the office about 10 minutes late. And as I was leaving the house that morning, Carrie, who never wakes up, rolled over in bed and she said, "Are you done?" And I looked at her and I said, "I'm done." And I went to work that day, and then the boss called me in. Nice guy, right? No, just said, I hate having meetings like this. And it came over me. And my first words were, "Let's not." I said, "I'll work through the end of my contract and then I'm done." And I guess I said it in a rather convincing manner because that was the end of that meeting. And that turned out to be one of the better moments I've had in a long time. It almost felt like chains had come off.
Yeah, dude. I want to describe that feeling because I have had that there's two different times where I finished something and to do something else. And as scary as I made it, it wasn't at all. It was like, once you finally just go all in and commit on that decision, it's like, there's no doubt. It's like, I couldn't wait to have the conversation and be over.
Right. And when was the last time your blood was pumping like that? When all of a sudden you were like, wow, I'm starting over. And you don't get that opportunity too often in life. You kind of have to make that opportunity happen. I felt like I was waiting for it, right? Mm-hmm. I was sitting in this job. I hadn't really gotten a raise in 15 years. The tide was going up around me. So my children getting more expensive to raise. And I'm all of a sudden barely trying to make ends meet, even though I had a great salary. But again, 15 years and it happens. And then to make that decision and do that and say, you know what, all opportunities are out there once again. Let's do it. It was, man, even today when I talk about it, it just gets my heart pumping. And like I said, I don't know where we go from here, but I've loved everything that's happened so far. I'm using parts of my brain, Nick, that I haven't used in 3 decades.
Well, we're going to talk about the businessman and what you're doing there. We're going to talk about the physical stuff and how you're all the things that you're bettering yourself physically and mentally that just were not even options in the past. But I want you to start thinking about something because I think this will be fun. And you didn't know I was going to go here. All right. So at some point in time, 30 years, the highlight reel from that would be incredible. The people, the late, the celebrities that are no longer with us, that you guys would have had conversations with, the bloopers. There's got to be a Jim Varney story in there from something when you know what I mean?
Shoot, I remember, when you meet Porter Wagoner, right? And the legend of Porter Wagoner, and he comes up to you and he introduces himself to you because he knows you already. There's no feeling like that, right? It's because I grew up adoring these people. But no, I have forgotten more stories than I could remember, but they're incredible moments, mixing up Hall & Oates on the red carpet of the CMAs. How stupid could I look there, right? Is there any worse blooper that you could possibly make on yourself?
Mustache,
Tanya
mustache.
Tucker walking around and reaching up underneath my pants and probably hitting a spot she wasn't going for at the moment. And everyone around us like, oh. Yep. And she's a wonderful woman. And we laugh about it to this day. But when you do something like I have, you never forget what an opportunity is and how special it is, right? You have the front row access to everything. Yeah. The only difference between you and anyone else at that venue is that you have a camera and a microphone and a TV report to deliver later on. It was a privilege. And I hope anyone that's doing that these days does not let that go beyond them.